Does it ever seem to you like it does to me that everything is kind of backwards in the world right now? That that evil is called good and good is called evil. Black is white, white is black. And this is also what I see. It seems to me that you'll get more mercy, more understanding, and a greater level of tolerance from your church congregation and pastor if you abuse your wife, if you abuse and malign your children, than if you refuse to forgive and reconcile with your abuser. You'll get more grief for your reluctance to forgive someone who does evil against you than if you are someone who actually perpetrates evil on someone. In fact, I don't even think that's addressed very often. The evil of abuse. The evil of enslavement. The evil of psychological enslavement. That is the crux of narcissistic abuse. I don't even know if that's ever talked about in church anymore. But you will hear this ad nauseum: you must forgive those who hurt you, no matter what. You must reconcile with that husband who beats you and maligns you, because God hates divorce. I wrote this down, that it seems a predominant mindset that has permeated the modern church is this: tolerance of evil rather than the repudiation of evil. This is the gold standard of moral rectitude. You're a better person, you're a more moral individual by forgiving someone of their evil rather than confronting someone over their evil. You're a better Christian by forgiving and forgetting your abuser than by confronting your abuser and going no contact with him. That's evil. I wrote this: the measuring stick of one's love toward God and his fellow man in this current moral environment is the forgiveness of evil people, not the renunciation of evil people. The church has become the sugar of the world, not the salt of the world. You may think this inverted moral reality is something new, but it is not. It took place in the day of the prophet Amos in the nation of Israel. And he wrote this. This is from Amos chapter 5. And I took excerpts from this chapter. They being the religious leaders of Amos' day, hate the one who reprimands the unrighteous in the gate. They regard him as unreasonable and reject his reprimand. They detest him who speaks truth with integrity and honesty. They, again referring to the religious leaders of Amos' day, they distress the righteous. They turn away from the poor in the court of the city gate, depriving the poor of justice. Well, we don't hear that word much anymore, do we? Justice. He who is prudent and has insight will keep silent at such a corrupt and evil time. For it is an evil time when people will not listen to truth and will disregard those of good character. In Amos' day, the people who stood up for justice, the people who attempted to confront evil and repudiate evil people, they were the ones who were shunned. They were called unreasonable. They were called imprudent. Paul had the same problem concerning the church at Corinth. And he wrote about it in 2 Corinthians chapter 11. I'll read some excerpts from this. I'm reading this from the Complete Jewish Bible. And 2 Corinthians 11, verses 19 through 21. And Paul is being sarcastic in this writing here. Since you Corinthians are so wise, you gladly put up with fools. You put up with it if someone makes a slave of you. You put up with it if someone exploits you and takes you in and puffs himself up. You put up with it if someone slaps you in the face. And here's where Paul is sarcastic. To my shame, I must admit that I've been too weak to do such things. They actually thought, the church at Corinth actually thought that Paul was weak because he wasn't abusive, because he was humble and of a low spirit, a humble spirit. Paul was shaming the church at Corinth for putting up with abuse. And if you'll read the entire chapter there, chapter 11 of 2 Corinthians, you'll see that the church there took pride in their tolerance of evil. They took pride in their tolerance of abuse and abusive people. They felt that was a mark of good character and godliness. But it's not. The church has been called, it's always been called, and let me just put it this way, men of conscience, men of good character, have always been called upon to confront evil, not tolerate it. We're not to be the sugar of the world. We're not to be the sweetness of the earth. I don't know when we became sweet. You can be too sweet. You can be too nice. You can be too tolerant. It truly is our job as men and women of conscience to not tolerate abusive people. They are wrong. They are not to be accepted. They are not to be welcomed with open arms. They are to be renounced. Evil people are to be rejected. Evil people are to be exposed. But I really do believe this, in today's moral climate, particularly in the church, you are classified as more wicked and evil if you refuse to accept and tolerate and forgive the wicked man or wicked woman. You're more evil if you refuse to accept the wicked than to confront and renounce the wicked. And I believe this is backwards. It's just my opinion. I think we've lost our way. We've lost the way of justice.